recording here. All right, and we shall share screen. So let's see, am I sharing yet? There we go. All right. Okay. As we all know, this is another 21 Step Tuesday with Pat, and today's the 30th of January, and I am your host. So anyway, we'll be recording this, and we'll put it out for the group, so anybody that, you know, was saving their energy will get a chance to check it out a little bit later. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that I think is really important for anybody. Really anybody. It doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur building a business or whether you're just an employee collecting a paycheck. You know, anybody day to day, this is a good message for. So what we're going to be talking about is excusitis and how we're going to overcome excusitis. And to start everything off, you know, a wise man once said that excuses are like butts. Everybody's got one, and most of them stink, to kind of paraphrase him. But what I found was interesting is, since becoming my own business owner, I've done a lot of reading. So one of the books that I really like, and I'm going through it my second or third time right now, is David Schwartz's Magic of Thinking Big. And he talks about a lot of things. And one of the things he talks about is in chapter 2, he talks about excusitis, and he calls excusitis the failure disease. And in his book, he says you'll discover unsuccessful people suffer a mind-deadening thought disease. We call this disease excusitis. Every failure has this disease in its advanced form. And most average persons have at least a mild case of it. I would change that up, and I would say that a lot of people have some serious cases of it. Me, for example, I can always come up with about 400 different excuses for not doing something I know I'm supposed to be doing. So anyway, to overcome the disease, we have to identify its origins. Now, you can read psychology books. There's a million things out there that tell you where excuses come from. But for me, I think it really gets down to 2 points. And the first one is fear. Fear of failure or a fear of success. And if you really think about it, and I'll use myself as a perfect example. There have been a number of times when I have done something or I haven't done something because I've been afraid of what the outcome would be if I did the opposite. So, you know, just, you know, sit down and write out an email to somebody. Okay. I've found a million excuses not to do it because I was afraid of what their response would be when I sent them that email. We're afraid of looking ridiculous to our friends and family. We're afraid of, you know, basically how we're going to look to the public in general, what people are going to think about us. And it's human nature. Everybody cares. You know, I don't care what anybody else says, but everybody to some degree cares what other people think about them. And even, you know, and I'll use President Trump as a great example. You know, sometimes he says things that people go, well, God, he obviously doesn't care what people think about him. No, you know what? I've heard interviews with the man prior to him becoming president, and he does care about what people think about him. The second half of that is a fear of success. Okay, well, oh God, you know, I got to go do the laundry. I got to go do this. I know I really should sit down and watch this seminar tonight, but you know, God, you know, it's the last episode of Amazing Race, and I can't miss it. I mean, it's the season finale, and I know that if I try to TiVo it, that, you know, somebody's going to ruin it for me, and I'm not going to get a chance to. You know, it's going to be a spoiler alert. They're going to ruin it for me. So anyway, so that's the first thing that we have to think about. is identify that fear is usually a real big factor in making excuses, whether we're making excuses or whether we're hearing excuses from somebody else. Okay, fear has basically two meanings. Either forget everything and run. I've heard it done a little bit differently where it's a little bit, kind of darker, or face everything and rise. So we have a choice. When we face fear, we can either just say, I'm out of here, I'm done, hit the road. And we see that a lot. We see that a lot with people that get excited about getting their own business online, and they're pumped, and then 2 weeks later they're gone. Okay, well, they hit that fear factor, so they forgot everything and they ran. Whereas the people that I see consistently, on all the different webinars and all the different things that are going on, are the people I think that see the fear, and there might even be a little bit of fear that if they don't do it, then they'll regret it for the rest of their lives. Okay, but that's something to use. Or face everything and rise. So we can look at our fears, we can face it, we can figure out a way to overcome it, and we can rise to the challenge. Honest to goodness, there's very, very few examples and very few times in our lives where we are going to die from fear. I mean, most of the time that you look at fear, and another definition that I've heard is false evidence appearing real. We look at something and go, oh God, we can't do that because we're afraid of it. And then we realize that wait a minute, that wasn't it at all. Okay, our second one, this is the one that kills me more than anything, is laziness. Nah, you know what? I didn't eat much today. I don't need to work out tomorrow. I took it. I didn't have any carbs yesterday, so I can kind of take it. Oh, you know what? My shoulder's a little bit sore. I'm not going to work out. Laziness. Laziness kills us. I don't know about you guys, but I can guarantee you, if I have to sit down and do something important, if I had a pad of paper, I could write 5,000 reasons why I shouldn't do it. And I'm going to have trouble doing the 2 or 3 reasons that I really, really have to do it. Which brings me to the next thing. And we hear this a lot through our coaches. We hear this a lot through the 21 steps. A lot of the traffic coaches will talk about this as our why. Why are we doing what we're doing? And what it gets down to is, if you let your excuses, well, you know what? Yeah, I got the money to go to Vegas for the summit, but you know what? I'll just wait. I'll just wait until the next titanium comes around. You know what? There's going to be an IMF here in the near future. I'll go to that instead. We don't want to do it. It's not big enough. This is a hobby for us. This isn't a quest. So basically, we're out of balance. And for me, what I try to look at in my life is, where am I at? Now we'll take my business for example. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing here for just a second. Go back to the back one. Stop sharing for just a half a second. So for me, my business, I look at it as a scale. The reasons why I want to build my business and the reasons that I'm doing this business. So what I try to keep doing is I try to keep that balanced heavier. I try to load, all this stuff on this side and less of the stuff on this side. The reason being that when this side starts outweighing the reasons why I want to do it, then I'm not doing my emails. I'm not sitting down and working the business. I'm not sitting down and putting together, my 21 step meeting. I'm not watching, I'm not talking to Matt, I'm not listening to what's going on, I'm not doing the webinars. So when you find yourself going, you know what, you know what, I saw something very similar to this. You know, this scale is starting to get a little bit out of balance. And so what we need to do is we need to work on our why to try to find out exactly where our balance needs to be. And try to get our balance back to where it's tipping over to the positive side. So basically what we do is, one of the easiest ways to overcome a laziness excuse is to stockpile stuff on top of the other side of the scale. So we got a scale here, and you can see obviously that it's out of balance. So we can look at it one of two ways. This is balance to the negative side that allows me to make excuses for why I'm not going to do what I need to do. Or we can look at it as, oh, okay, this is my why side. So what I've got here, the fact that I want to build a business for my family, I want to be in a position where I can help my family, is more important than sitting down and watching reruns of Walker, Texas Ranger, or whatever it is that keeps us out of balance. So to overcome fear and laziness, let's take a lesson from J.K. Rowling. She created the Harry Potter books. Now, I'm going to assume that anybody over the age of 15 years old has probably either heard about Harry Potter, read the books, or seen one of the movies. I mean, the last 15, 20 years, almost everything's been Harry Potter. So there he is. If you haven't seen him before, there's Harry Potter, the boy wizard. He's got the scar, the boy who lived. So in the third book, J.K. writes a story about these evil creatures that live in the wizarding world called Dementors. And this is a picture of a Dementor. Now, Dementors are described as the foulest, most evil thing in the wizarding world. They've been described as, when people get around them, that all the happiness in the world goes away. Like, you'll never be happy again. So in the third book, what happens is Harry runs into these Dementors, and they decide for some reason that they need to take an interest in Harry, and they're going to do what they can to try to make his life miserable. So of course, being a kid, he doesn't know how to fight these things. So what he does is he goes to one of his professors, and he says, "Hey, professor, these things are bugging me. What can I do about it?" And he says, "Well, you know what, Harry, there's a charm. It's called the Patronus charm." What's the Patronus charm? Well, the Patronus charm is basically a shield. You can throw this Patronus charm out there, and you can protect yourself against all the Dementors. They can't break through the shield. So Harry goes, okay, well, I need to develop a Patronus. So you'll find all the different main characters within the books and the movie series develop these protective shields called Patronus. And in the books, they all take the form of animals. So anyway, Harry works through, he learns how to do this Patronus. And one of the things that the professor tells him, he goes, okay, to do your Patronus, you have to think of the happiest thought you can think of. And for us, that would be our why. So the first time he tries it, it doesn't work. So he asks him, what are you thinking? He tells him what he's thinking. He goes, no, that's not going to do it. You got to get something that when you think about it, it completely and totally fills you up inside. Okay, that's what I'm saying about our why. If we want to be able to counterbalance the negative stuff in our excuse file, we have to come up with our own Patronus. We have to come up with that happy thought. We need to come up with our why that becomes so powerful that at will, we can snap our fingers and we can call it up. That we can just whip out our wands, we can produce a Patronus, and it'll protect us against all the Dementors in the world. And as you can see here, Harry's produced a massive Patronus that's protecting him from hundreds of Dementors that are flying around. All right. So to overcome the dementors in our lives, we have to make sure that our scales are tipped in the right direction. That means we have to have a clear purpose, our why, and we need to be able to draw that in a moment's notice. So you've heard it before. You've heard it from your coaches. You've heard it from traffic coaches. You hear it in seminars. You hear it in the videotapes. If you haven't sat down and written out why you want to build a business, haven't written out why you are doing this, then you're not going to have enough power to produce your own Patronus. So what you really need to do, what I would suggest, what I strongly recommend, is sit down with a piece of paper and just start jotting notes. Why do I want to do this? Why would I go all the way out of my, why would I go out of my way, spend all this money, spend all this time and energy to build a business? Why? So let's all become the witches and wizards we deserve to be. Let's work at it. We'll work on our excuses. We understand that excuses are going to kill us. And the cool thing about this is once we learn how to overcome the excusitis in our own lives, then when we start talking to our clients, if some of us go on to be coaches down the road, either traffic coaches or mentors or whatever, then we'll understand where they're coming from. We'll be able to go, you know what? I was sitting right where you are. I was exactly the same way you are. But this is the steps that I've taken to kind of overcome it. So basically, the only thing standing between you and your goal is a bullshit story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. I used to teach golf, and I used to tell my students that the longest 8 inches on a golf course is from here to here. This is where almost every single game of golf is destroyed. And the same holds true. It's true with anything, with any sport, with any business. What we got going on up here is going to kill us. So to let you know that for anybody that's afraid of failure, here's 6 very, very famous examples of failure. Albert Einstein couldn't speak until he was almost 4 years old. His teacher said he wouldn't amount to anything. Michael Jordan, some say arguably the greatest basketball player in history. He got cut from his high school basketball team. He went home and locked himself in the room and cried. Steve Jobs, 30 years old, he was left devastated and depressed because they kicked him out of the company that he had started. At 30 years old, they fired him as CEO of Apple. Walt Disney, fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and having no original ideas. Has anybody been to Disneyland lately? $125 just to walk through the door, and the place is always packed to the rafters. You know what? There's a man that had an imagination. Oprah, demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't fit for television. And the one that cracks me up more than anything, the Beatles, rejected by Decca Records, said that they didn't like their sound. They had no future in show business. A lot of people will argue that they were the greatest rock band in history. So this just goes to show you that if you let fear build excuses, your excuses will keep you from building your business. You know, it'll keep you from doing anything in life. So that's really basically all I've got. Just want to remind everybody that if you want to be if you are a regular participant or not, if you've got a comment, constructive criticism, whatever, you got a question, throw it up to me at pats21step@gmail.com, and we'll try to incorporate it into one of these Tuesday evening meetups. All right, so that is the end of my little presentation. Thank you. So, you know, basically what I try to do is I think about some of the struggles that go on with me, the struggles that I've gone through with the 21 steps, the struggles that I go through on a daily basis, you know, building my business. And I come up with some ideas. I just try to throw them out there. So most of them aren't original. You know, 99.9% of the stuff I talk about is stuff that I've stolen from other people. Just, you know, I mean, I think the people put stuff out there in the world because they want to pass it on to other people. So I'm going to unmute you guys. If anybody's got a question or anything, just go ahead and jump on in. And are you awake, Sharon? Are you breathing?
Yeah. I don't have any questions. I missed the first part of it. I'm sorry, but.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to put these up on my YouTube channel. So
Awesome.
they'll be public on the YouTube channel. So anytime, you know, you want to go back, if you missed one, if you missed part of one, you want to go check it out. So hopefully by later on this evening, I'll have it up on the YouTube channel. Also, I've got a lady in Australia that took the one that we did last week with what is and what isn't the 21 steps, and she's showing that to her 21 step clients to try to help them along the way. That's basically all I'm trying to do with these, is I'm trying to get us to the point where, you know, we become a little bit more effective in helping our 21 step clients. You know, I listened to Sue and Jerry last night, and I really liked a lot of the stuff they were saying. You know, I like Sue's attitude. It's people ask her, well, what do you do for a living? I help people make money online. No, you know, no big secret to it. I just help people. That's what we do. We help people. We are in the helping people business. I think that's one of the big things that attracted me to Mobe, is the fact that there is this feeling of assistance all the way through, from your 21 step coaches up through your traffic coaches, you know, the messages that Matt puts out every day, the, you know, revamping of the Traffic Academy. It's all about people that have something that are willing to share with other people. Now, I've been involved in multi-level marketings before, and people will do that to a degree, but I found in a lot of cases they kind of hold it in. Oh, this is my secret. You need to go find out how to do it. I figured it out. It took me a long time how to figure it out. Now it's your turn to go figure it out. And I don't want to be like that. I want people to come into this business, especially clients that I've shown the business to, and be able to go, yeah, one of the major reasons that I got involved with this business is because there are so many people out there that are willing to give you a hand up. They don't want a handout, they want a hand up. And that's what we're about.
What is your YouTube channel?
You know what? I'll post.
Okay.
I will post the link